This reminds me of a very cheating ex I had who would like blow things I did out of proportion because like he would either want me to break up with him in these moments where it was going well with the other girl. I didn't know this at the time, but this is what was happening. He either wanted me to break up with him when it was going well with the other girl, or he was starting fights to justify like being around less and like being more sneaky. And like all of this to me is just kind of that.
There's just too much going on. There's like too many things. Like there's.
Why are we with somebody who's not sure about us after 2 years?
Turn up. All I want is to go again, but you ain't picking your phone up. Why you messing my head up? Any night, any day, let me take you away. All I need is just saying.
Hello, hello, hello.
Yeah.
We're here.
It is. Welcome to Therapy Rebranded, where we're consistently inconsistent. Ding!
And we're back.
We're back. If you notice anything different about today, it's because we have balloons and fancy cocktail. Well, I always have a fancy cocktail, but Rachel also has a fancy cocktail because she's a licensed therapist.
Ooh, ooh. I passed my test, y'all.
And everybody's going to be like, I thought you guys were already licensed.
I know.
And we were.
And we were.
But now she's the highest level of license.
I can't get better than this.
Can't get better than this.
Can't get better than this. I actually am still like, what the fuck?
How was it taking the test? You have to go to a center. You have to like they're like, you know, you can't wear a hat, and if you have your glasses, you have to take them off, and we have to look at them. You can't bring in water.
No water, no snacks,
How were
no
you
like
feeling?
stress ball. I had like all the things ready for me, and then like they took it all away. How was I feeling at the time?
Yeah.
I felt really calm.
Yeah.
I took like really good care of myself like the day before and the morning of, and so I was also feeling like just very like it is kind of what it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's not more studying I can do. I feel like I know what I'm going to know. And I was like, if I don't pass, I'll take it in a month.
Yeah.
That's just all that's going to happen.
Were you surprised you passed when you got to the end?
Yes.
Why?
I felt because there's no way to know. I feel like for me personally, on the specific test that it is, there's no way to know how you're doing, which of course it's a test. Like they're not going to tell you, but like it's the weirdest type of multiple choice because there's no elimination process. It feels like, like if I were to try and eliminate, I wouldn't have passed. Mm-hmm. So
it's like best answer.
It's like you really have to think.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all word problem. It's like one big word problem. So I think I said this too. I got to question 160. There's 170 questions. And I was like shaking because you find out immediately. You press the button and it makes you like take a little like satisfaction quiz. And then it gives you the result.
They want to know how you felt about the test before you find out you failed.
Exactly. And I leaned back. I was like, and it's like a timed thing too. Cause they like want you to get through it.
Yeah.
So you have to do like 2 little quiz, like satisfaction quizzes, and then you get your result. And it just says, congratulations. Like, I don't even know what the failed one looks like. I figure it says like, so sorry you failed, or just failed.
Should we read some about microcheating?
Yeah, let's read about what is microcheating. Okay, guys. How I miss doing Reddits. My boyfriend, 38-year-old male of 2 years, and I, 38-year-old female, both microcheated and can't come to an agreement on moving forward. Who's being unreasonable?
Both.
As soon as you call it microcheating, you're both being unreasonable. Yeah. My boyfriend, 38 male, and I, 38-year-old female, have a rocky history during our 2-year relationship, and we have broken each other's trust in our relationship. Not by physical cheating, but through micro-cheating or broken promises or boundaries.
They're 38. They're lying. Are you sure this doesn't say 19-year-old male yet 19-year-old female?
I'm sure, babe. I'm sure. I'm sure, babe. We decided to put everything on the table and admit to any past discretions and try to move forward. They're
terrible
ill.
idea.
They're ill.
Terrible idea.
That is ill. We are struggling with finding any resolution, on one particular issue between us. And we are hoping some perspective can come from outside feedback.
Sorry, but just like, could you imagine being like, you know what? Fine. Fuck it. Let's just take it to Reddit. Just take it to Reddit. Reddit will decide.
We need Reddit's outside opinion. Unwell. I allowed 2 separate male friends of both of us for 6 to 8 months during our relationship to send me sexually inappropriate. I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it through. I allowed 2 separate male friends of both of us for 6 to 8 months during our relationship. She also needs a grammar coach to send me sexually inappropriate texts and or messages sporadically. There's so much going on there.
Just keep going.
Sorry. I did not ever respond in a sexual manner, but was playful and did some cases flirtatious in my responses. I deliberately hid these interactions and lied when questioned. My boyfriend, during an especially extreme argument, told me he was done with the relationship. Shocker. This was a week before a family wedding trip we were taking together down south. After calming down, we decided to take the trip and try to work things out. I found out after we got home that he had been talking to another woman the entire week before our trip, telling her he was going through a separation and was attracted to her, but maybe it was too soon, etc., etc. He deleted and hid these messages and conversations even after being asked. After finding all this out...
Oh, look, it's a dog.
Oh, my God. Oh, it's a little piece of freezer. So cute.
No, but a real dog. Dog-ass nigga.
Dog-ass nigga. After finding all this out, we again decided to try and work things out, and I found out weeks later that he was still contacting her. Anybody want to say duh?
She says jump off. He doesn't like her. He just thinks you guys aren't going to work out, and he needs to keep
it's just easy, babe.
Yeah.
And I found out weeks later that he was still contacting her and also contacted another single woman telling her I was a psycho ex and asking her on a date while simultaneously telling me he was committed to working on our relationship. Oh boy. For me, these two issues are absolutely unacceptable for both of us and have equal levels of betrayal and disrespect for different reasons.
Absolutely not true. He's way more disrespectful than you. It's not even close.
What are we talking about? He believes that because his messages to these women were not sexual in nature, what I did was severely worse. Oh, I'm triggered.
Semantics. Bullshit.
Yeah. I believe that my intention was to selfishly enjoy the attention of these men, but never to move on from him or act on or reciprocate anything sexual. And that his intention was to start genuinely and actively pursuing and dating someone new while telling me he wanted to try to make it work.
Yes.
I think these are equally disrespectful in different ways, and he believes they're not at all comparable. Who's being reasonable? Please weigh in. You're both sick. But he's definitely worse.
So
I don't know.
All right. So first thing. Go ahead.
Can I read it? Somebody said the wrong discussion is being had here. You should be trying to measure who is the bigger asshole here. That doesn't solve or help with a single thing. That's hilarious. Okay, anyway, keep going.
So I think you should break up.
Yeah.
I actually don't think he wants to be in the relationship. I actually think he doesn't know how to be done. He very much does not want to be with you. And part of the reason why he's overplaying these texts is an excuse to leave you. And all this rationalizing you're trying to do to save the relationship is really one-sided. And you're being unreasonable because you're 38 and you're considering this motherfucker. And it's 2 years and you have no kids.
It's just like, what are we doing?
Why are we doing this? Not saying you need to have kids, but there's nothing tying you.
When you read something like this or hear a story like this, or you have a client or whatever, like what is just your like visceral reaction to like this? Not even like a therapy reaction.
My human inside reaction is, motherfucker, how dare you, when he was telling her I was psycho. That would have been, that's worse than cheating. That's like telling somebody I'm psycho while you're telling me you want to work on it.
Betrayal.
Ooh.
It's like, she's talking about who's had it worse here. I'm like, he's lying. He's like, what? Like,
and you shouldn't have made him go on that trip down south with you because you didn't want to be embarrassed. Like that dragged all of this out. All of this got drug out because of that.
The whole thing is fucked up and messy. It's just like,
and there was nothing that you indicated that those friends didn't know you had a boyfriend. He's literally denying being in a relationship to multiple people,
but telling you that he's committed.
But telling you that he wants to work on it.
Oh, I thought she said committed.
Well, committed, whatever. I want to work on it is not like we're going to make it work. No, that's not the same. I want to work on it is not we're going to make it work.
If somebody wants to make it work or like whatever, they just say it.
They're like, we're going to figure this out.
We're going to work, even if they're mad.
Yeah.
You just know.
This reminds me of a very cheating ex I had who would like blow things I did out of proportion because like he would either want me to break up with him in these moments where it was going well with the other girl. I didn't know this at the time, but this is what was happening. He either wanted me to break up with him when it was going well with the other girl, or he was starting fights to justify like being around less and like being more sneaky. And like all of this to me is just kind of that.
There's just too much going on. There's like too many things. Like
why are we with somebody who's not sure about us after 2 years? That's a dub.
That's a dub.
It's just done.
It's done.
It's just done.
Like, girl, you just part ways.
You just part ways.
And it's like too much harm. There's just like too like, I don't know if I want to be, I don't know.
I guess what I would say is like, if this really is just like a small amount of like a rough chunk of time and you guys like recover and he becomes reinvested, fine, maybe. But he doesn't sound invested at all. So you're doing all of the mental gymnastics not to see what's right in front of you, which is like, he is not feeling you.
You're doing all the spinning, all the figuring. You're the one writing Reddit. Like, no.
Not even kind of.
Not even kind of. Him literally talking to, like, you are right. Him building those emotional connections he's building emotional connections.
Most people, I used to think it was a male thing. It's not. Most people don't want to go from their relationship to having nobody. And so they start to like either fantasize about somebody else, have a crush on somebody else, or they actually build a relationship with somebody else. And like, those random girls aren't going to really care if there's like a 3-week difference between when he started texting you and like when you actually broke up. And like, that's what he's doing.
He's going through a separation, bro.
Also, you're not married. Why? How is it the separate?
Because he's not cheating. We're going through a separate, like, it's like, it's like upping the ante, which is gross, of like your relationship. So he knows he's like, it's something wrong.
Yes.
Which is gross.
Yes.
Like he has to up the ante to make it okay for him to be talking to other women for them.
Yes. Yuck. All right, next one.
Next.
All right, so the last two are just like screenshots from the Insane Parents Reddit. So let me pull it up.
Pulling up the last one.
Okay. Okay, so apparently my dad and his girlfriend were fighting when I went swimming with her today, and I got a chain of insane texts. Some context, I don't have a phone plan, so I didn't get any of these messages until I got home. Also, don't worry, y'all. I do not live with him, so I'm not worried about my safety. Also, the cutoff message says, Dad, I don't have data on my phone.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
I honestly was I was struggling to follow it as well. Like,
I was too. Like, I couldn't
like, what was
tell.
going on?
It wasn't coherent. I'm actually like confused
For
at what
real.
he was trying to say.
No, me too. I don't know why I was struggling so much, but I was.
No, I was really like, I got like he was texting her, but I couldn't keep up with like what.
Yes.
It sounded like
I feel like I missed the whole goddamn thing.
I know he was being cruel, but like, or like weird, but I couldn't, it like wasn't coherent to me. I feel like I'm like, can you explain to us, please?
Yeah, like I almost wanted you to go slower.
I know, I'm like,
for real.
can you
Like
read for
I
us?
feel like an idiot.
No, I do too. I was like, I feel like I missed.
I think he's just that off.
Okay. Because
So
I didn't know.
can I summarize them?
Please.
Okay.
Should we go through it just because I was
just pull
even
them up
missing
and
all
then
the
you can
media too?
Can you just summarize while he puts them up? Because
We'll just go back. So dad writes his daughter, I don't know what happened the night before, but the night before at 1:37 in the morning, he says, gee, sweetie, I'm sorry. Holy cow.
Okay.
No idea what happened. Don't think that has anything to do with the messages the next day. It might, but I don't think so.
Got it.
He writes, she gets all these texts today at 4:12 p.m., starting with, so I assume Tiff just bailed on me and I'm not allowed to come on my only day off. It sounds like Tiff is the girlfriend. Mm-hmm. He calls her. She doesn't answer. He texts her, what the fuck, man? This is the daughter. He calls her again. He calls her again. She doesn't respond. His last call was at 5:17. So he's been trying to get a hold of her for over an hour now.
I do get it now.
He writes her, I'm begging and crying to come swimming, and why are you guys doing this to me? I didn't do anything to deserve this. Baby, please, I just want to spend time with my family and not alone on my only day off. This is cruel and hurts so bad, man.
You know why it was confusing to me partially is because it's like
was that a better read?
It's like a little
much better.
kid.
Yeah, I get it now.
It's like a little he's like, this is I have to do like, it's like inner wounding stuff. He's like, he feels abandoned.
I don't believe any of that. This
You don't
is all
think so?
fucking manipulation and control and like.
Yes. But I'm saying like,
No.
But this is what you would like connect to as a kid.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I think for me as a kid, I would respond and feel bad, and the manipulation would work on me. I think.
Okay. Well, next line isn't very self-pitying. It's fucking rude.
Yes.
Wow, I didn't do anything, and you chose to hurt me and exclude me too.
Now this is clicking.
Why? I want to go swimming with my family, sweetheart. And this hurts so bad. I'm literally crying, begging her to come pick me up for hours now, and you guys sneak away and ignore me
Yo, he's awful.
because I asked for time so I could take a shower first. I'm sick. Responds to dad. How was I supposed to get these calls or messages? Right above that, she explained that the cutoff part of that message is, Dad, I didn't have data on my phone. How was I supposed to get these calls or messages? Also, as a parent, how do you not know your kid doesn't have like a phone plan?
What's interesting, but she says she doesn't live with him. So like, he doesn't.
Here's a comment where she kind of expounds on that.
I barely talk to him, and this is why. When he gets into a fight with his girlfriend, I'm dragged into their middle. Seems like it. The only reason he has my number is because my pet turtles are at his house. She's a child. Oh. Are at his house because I can move them.
I can't move them to where I'm currently living, and I need to check on them every now and again to make sure he's taking care of them.
Oh, she's no relationship with him.
But it doesn't make sense then why his girlfriend's picking her up.
Yeah.
Maybe she has like siblings and like he's hanging out with the siblings.
Maybe.
Is he in a fucking wheelchair or an iron lung or something? Like, why can't he go?
They got in a fight.
Well, because they left without him. I'm guessing that they only have one car. Because he's saying like, come back and pick him
the
up.
girlfriend.
Yeah, like come back. Like, why won't? I think his assumption was that his kid chose the side of the girlfriend and was like enjoying the day and ignoring her.
Well, that does hurt so bad, man.
Shut up, Gabe.
It's so bad, man.
Yo.
Should I just finish? They went through and nobody mentioned me at all. Me begging and blowing up her phone, begging her to come grab me so I can see my family and enjoy my day too. Could you imagine not having access to your own car at 40?
Loser.
Like, you guys hurt me so bad and I truly didn't do anything. I wanted to take a shower first and this is the only day off this whole week. I am so upset and can't understand what I did to deserve this. I'm not being mean or nasty or blaming you. I'm trying to see what the fuck is happening and why. That is the most mind-fucky sentence because he is blaming and he is being mean and nasty. And he said he's not. That's exactly what these messages are like, poor me, I'm blaming you guys for ruining my day. And he's saying like, basically the undertone of all of this is like, I get to behave like this because you guys have me fucked up.
Yes.
And one, that's just like fundamentally wrong. And then two, like, you don't go tit for tat with your kid.
You don't just dump on your child. Like, there's no emotional regulation. There's no sort of like, he's just like letting out vitriol.
And also the begging, like over and over again, saying that you're begging is like
gross. I feel
nasty. So I want to go back to you saying that this would have worked on you.
As a kid?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What would have been your thought if your dad sent you something like that at 12?
I would have been in tears. I would have ran to my stepmom or my mom or would have called and I would have been like, I don't know what to do with this. And then they probably would have taken care of it. But then I probably would have like, he would have called me or I would have called him and like it would just be we'd just be crying together on the phone. I think this has happened before.
Where him and his girlfriend got in a fight and then you got pulled in?
Not even like that type of thing, but just like if he was upset about something or like more maybe like custody stuff with my mom. But actually now that I think about it, when my stepmom left a couple times, he was like couldn't do things for himself.
Yeah.
So it felt like we were like equals.
Yeah.
And this feels like, and that feels like.
Yeah. My dad never sent me texts with stuff like this, but he definitely would like call me on my birthdays to tell me I was a bad daughter. And like, that just made I just pulled away.
Yeah.
Like I used to cry. Yeah. But like not on the phone. Like I had too much pride to cry on the phone. I used to like get off the phone and cry and I'd be like, fuck him. Like that was like my energy was always like fuck him. He's trash anyways. Like that like anger. I got like, I think if I was like, if my dad sent me those messages, I'd be like, it's like literally think 13-year-old me would be like, it's not my fault that you're a bad boyfriend or something like that, like little kid version of like that. I think
people were giving me those messages, but it felt like it was my job to care for him. Right. Like I felt like I was, and it's because of like the message that he was giving me, or it was like, you know, only I understand him, only we understand each other. It's like, that was like very, those are still things he says. So
Yeah, they are.
So I probably still would react like that, actually. No, now
I feel like now you'd be like, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I feel like it's a lot of like, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. I believe you though, but I didn't mean to. But I believe you.
It is a lot of that.
Yeah, just like over and over again. You get to be mad. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I ask you guys
Therapy
about
talk.
I know.
the divorced dad-daughter relationship dynamic, like how common that is? Like, so another one of my shows, the host was talking about how she like dictated, like when it was her and her dad, and if a woman came in and she didn't like him, that woman was out. Like it just made it sound like she was like dictating, like being the mom, I guess.
No, I had no say in who my parents dated.
And my parents weren't divorced because they were never together. So,
and you just got,
my dad had already had somebody picked out. So,
but you had an emotional bond that was odd with him, you'd say?
With my dad. Yeah. It was more,
you had a strong relationship with your stepmom.
Really strong relationship with her. And then I would have said that my dad was like my everything, I think. I remember saying that in therapy. But like I would have, I would keep any secret for him. I would do anything. And now I would not. And I would probably it just felt more like, what is that word? It felt like we were just like buddies.
Yeah.
Like I just couldn't do any wrong, and therefore if I couldn't do any wrong, I should let him off the hook for anything.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the vibe.
I feel like for me, like I didn't come from a framework where like I even really thought, what if I liked adults in my life? Like I definitely thought about like if I liked teachers or like people outside of the home, but like if someone was like this person's family or this person's important or like whatever, like it's up to me to like be respectful to them, and like nobody even cared if I liked them. Like that was never a conversation. Like there was never any like, do you like your new family? Like there was none of that.
They're just in
zip. There was like when my mom got remarried, like her husband, like her fiance at the time, who became her husband, my dad's brother, like fake tried to like ask me the day he was proposing to her, like, what do you think about this? But it was literally like he was going to propose to her in 30 minutes. We were in the same room as her,
like what is
on the other side of the room, and he like whispered it to me, like, I'm about to propose tonight. Like, what do you think?
You even like just how you like set that up makes me like I can't.
He didn't really want to know.
No,
he just like wanted to do all the steps.
But like imagine as a kid, like how pressureful, like.
But it wasn't real pressure because you weren't really asking. There was no, like, I didn't really have any power in that way. And I knew that. And I didn't even think about those kinds of things. That wasn't even like how my framework was. Like, my framework was like,
of course,
adults do what adults do and they don't care what you think about it, which is so counter to like how my brother's life is. And like, I just think generationally that's changed a lot. I feel like a lot of the kids I work with, their parents think about how they feel a lot.
Yeah. Even if it's like not in the right way.
Yeah.
Right way. Whatever.
All right. Let's do the last one.
That one has me thinking.
It should.
19-year-old female, financially independent at minimum wage and live an hour away. Still can't escape entitled addict mom. I gave her $50 2 days prior to this convo when I visited her. And am I reading just the text message?
Yeah.
Okay. I desperately need to borrow $100 from you. I'll send it back to you. We are choking, have nothing to drink or eat or anything. I know you don't want to, any more than I wanted to ask, but I don't know what else to do. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry. None of that is my fault, and I am not responsible for any of y'all. I have to work for money to pay my own bills, not hand it to you. If the $50 I just gave you couldn't buy something to drink or eat, then I don't know what to tell you. For 2 people for 2 days, you're extremely lucky I gave you any at all because I don't have to. Damn, there was a lot I didn't have to do either.
And she ain't wrong. But she need to say that.
I don't have to repay you for taking care of me.
Can we start from the beginning and I'll read the girl and you read the mom? Okay.
Yeah, okay. Go. I desperately need to borrow.
Hang on 1 second. Let me catch up to you guys.
Okay.
No worries.
1 second.
It's really hard to tell the difference between who's who.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Like, it's better when you guys are a little more performative.
Yeah, totally.
With it.
Okay.
Like how Javae was doing when I was at the music. Like, kind of like
let's
that.
Do it.
Yeah, reenact it. So
all right,
1
I'm
second.
gonna get into it.
Here we go.
How do I put on?
I'll be the mom. You can be the girl.
Okay.
I love to be a cunt.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. So just to set this up, a 19-year-old female, financially independent at minimum wage, and I live an hour away, still can't escape, entitled addict mom. I gave her $50 2 days prior to this convo when I visited her. When you're making minimum wage and paying rent, $50 is a lot.
That's a half of $100 and $100, like it's all a lot.
It's all a lot. Like she probably eats completely at home.
Yes.
Like she's like struggling, I'm sure.
Yes.
So then Mama texts her, I desperately need to borrow $100 from you. I'll send it back to you. We are choking, have nothing to drink or eat or anything.
Choking is...
I know you didn't want to any more than I wanted to ask, but I don't know what else to do.
Get a job. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry. None of that is my fault, and I am not responsible for any of y'all. I have to work for my money to pay my own bills, not handed to you. If the $50 I just gave you, sorry, this is so great. If the $50 I just gave you couldn't buy something to drink or eat, then I don't know what to tell you.
For 2 people for 2 days?
Sorry. You're extremely lucky I gave you any at all because I don't have to.
Damn. There was a lot I didn't have to do either.
Burst into tears.
I feel bad reading this because I know how hard it was for the kid to send these messages.
I was just thinking, like, how much you have to, like, how you have to get to this place is, like, a lot of work. I don't have to repay you for taking care of me for 18 years. That was your job as a mother. I don't owe you anything at all. Somebody was in therapy. Okay.
I never said you did. Just blows my mind that family will let families suffer. That's all.
If you have no money, that's not my fault nor my responsibility. I make enough money for myself, and that's it.
Okay.
Bitch.
We just need a little help. You didn't have to get hateful about it. I'm already having a hard enough time. Actually, she would have said it like, okay, we just needed a little help.
Right.
You didn't have to get hateful about it. I'm just having a hard time.
Immediately drops down. Immediately dials back.
Sends money and box number after.
Yes.
2 for 1.
Yes.
I want to know if the family of 2 is a sibling. If
it's a sibling, it's different than if it's you and your man.
No, it's worse. It's more manipulative if it's you and a sibling.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's worse because you're more hooked in.
Yeah. And as the mom to like throw, the vote said 27 said insane. 1 person says not insane. Did the mom find the Reddit and vote?
Right. The one unhealed person who doesn't get it. I was thinking that too. Is it a sibling? Is it a separate kid? Is it a boyfriend? Is it her dad? Like, I want to know.
It's giving boyfriend.
Yes.
It's giving boyfriend, but it could be sibling because that would pull the heartstrings way more. Like, I feel like this is what I'll say. If this mom has survived being a piece of shit her whole life, she's probably pretty savvy. And like, you have to know that like bringing up your man doesn't evoke a lot of sympathy.
We got some very important context here.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, it says, so this is, someone says, why would $50 not be enough for 2 people to have food and drink for 2 days? Oh, I know it wasn't used for that. So then the poster came in and said, exactly. As soon as I handed her the $50, she asked me to take her to the grocery store. I was hopeful until I watched her walk up to her dealer's car.
Oh.
The store was just the meetup spot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, honey, no.
And then they told her to call her out. This is the thing. Having a parent like this is completely a helpless feeling because there's nothing you can do except have boundaries. Mm-hmm. There's nothing else you can do. No, there's not going to be any way she's going to get it, or you're going to say it a different way. And like,
she's an addict.
You might say like a quick line that makes you feel good. Like, ooh, gotcha. But like,
it doesn't matter.
It's not going to change anything.
No.
All right, let's do our check-in.
Okay. I'll go first.
I was going to say actually,
oh, you want to go first?
Yeah. Cause I was just going to say this conversation made me think about like something that happened in Portugal. So I went to Portugal with my family. It was fun. It was me, my mom, my brother. We had a great time. I always am like, when I come back from these trips, I'm like, wow, I can't believe we spent like 8 or 9 days together and like didn't fight. Like that never happens. Like we just get along. We're in the same hotel room, everything. We just get along.
No, my family, it doesn't.
Very nice. No. A lot of quiet.
No.
Very nice.
That's awesome that there's quiet.
The only other thing I wanted to share about from my check-in is I found out what my name would have been if I was a boy.
Tell us. Wait, can we guess at all?
Yes.
Is it anything though? Is it black?
It's black. It is a famous actor from the 90s.
It's not like Jaden or something.
No.
Famous actor from the... I don't know, Morris Chestnut? Were you going to be
Morris?
Morris?
Love Jones.
It's the same one.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck me.
Jeez. Can I use that?
Tell us.
Lorenz.
Ooh!
Ghetto.
Yo, they were watching Love Jones together while they made you, bitch. Oh my gosh, that's the movie.
Lorenz is a horrible name. a horrible name.
You were.
Javae's not a great name either.
Javae's a great name.
You love me and I'm great, so it's great. But
Shut up about that. No, I'm just joking.
Lorenz.
You could be Lorenz
Tate.
Lorenz Carroll. They were so young.
Lorenz.
They were so.
Why did my brother get Harrison? That's really fucked up, actually. Yeah, we were clowning about that. I just thought that was so funny.
Oh my gosh. No, she didn't admit that to you.
Yeah.
Lorenz.
She looked red in the face when I was like, what was my name supposed to be? He was like...
Because she knew.
And then she tried to be like, well, I mean, maybe if you would have actually been a boy, you would have put more thought into it. But that was the plan.
Girl, liar. You were going to be Lorenz. You were... Oh my God. It's you as... Sorry.
No, it is.
Oh my God. It's Stud Javae.
I'm fine.
You are cute, girl. Okay.
I got muscles.
Bitch. It looks like I could fix that.
Facts.
And you can. You don't even.
So anyways, that's my check-in.
Your new name is Lorenz.
Lorenz.
My
middle name now is Lachelle. Maybe it would have been Lorenz Lachelle.
Your middle name's Lachelle. It sounds like a member of TLC.
In the ghetto.
Javae. Lachelle is cute.
Lay.
I think Lachelle is kind of
I've just never heard it. I've never heard that as a name. She invented it.
Oh, all of them. Mm-hmm. She probably would have invented my last name if she could have. It's giving 17.
Wow, I never realized, Javae's like a made-up name too, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's French.
In the ghetto. The other thing that was really nice about being in Portugal was like every time I go to Europe, I don't really feel that black. I just feel American.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like I get like as soon as I open my mouth, people are like, oh, American.
We know how to treat you. You can like see the switch.
Some people treat you like shit, but they're like, oh, you're stupid.
What was your experience? Because you've like traveled quite a bit. So like, what is your take?
I found the men to be so kind and non-sexual. And like they weren't hitting on you in any way, shape, or form. And I found the women to be cunty.
Yeah.
Like very just like, and it probably is just like social norm differences, but just like very like, I don't have time for you. I don't care. I'm not going to explain this. I'm not going to try to talk in English. Mm-hmm. Like, fuck off. Mm-hmm. We did have like one bad hotel and we paid for like a travel person to pick our hotel. So we like called them when we got there because like the first room we were in, we were like, there's not enough room for us to all sleep in here. Mm-hmm. Like we like literally can't sleep here.
We can't do this.
We can't sleep here. So we like called them and I ended up like getting into an argument with one of the people on the phone because she started saying things like, I had 30 Canadians stay there last week and nobody complained. And like, just like this.
Okay, but we are.
But it was just interesting because I'm like, oh yeah, it's that bratty American stereotype. Like, oh, your standards are too high. You're bougie. You don't know shit. And the other thing that was interesting is like, one of the nights I was out by myself, I was walking back after like, we ended up like going on a holiday, which was an accident. So there was like a holiday weekend. So there was like partying all weekend. So I was like stayed out and partied one of the nights. And I was like walking back to the hotel and like I ran into somebody who barely spoke any English. They have like bodegas basically there. So I went in there to get like ice cream and like water before I like went home because I was drunk. Mm-hmm. And I like when I said I was from the US, he was like, Trump. And I was just like,
no.
So American. That's like all of our associations are
so,
like.
It's McDonald's and Trump.
It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. It's like, no, I'm so much more than that.
I mean, I'm not embarrassed to be an American, but I hate the stereotype around Americans.
It is embarrassing how other people think about us.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Why are you not embarrassed to be an American? At times. I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm not also, but I also like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know.
I just don't
think about it.
I just don't think about it. And I realistically don't really want to live anywhere else. And like
what am I going to do?
I think there's a lot of things about like my day-to-day life in America that I actually really like. So I think like there's a lot of positives. And then also like, this is kind of a cheat, but like I am a Black American. So I also have all that stigma. Like sometimes I'll like interact with people and, you know, they'll like try to be woke and like be like, oh, the cops in the US, like they want me to know that like they know what happens to us there and stuff, which is interesting. Yeah. Because, you know, like when I go by myself, I'm just like talking to people. Mm-hmm. So that was like, I talked to someone in Iceland for like a while who we were like talking about that. So I don't know. I think I think that America's not great, and I also don't think that a lot of countries with our level of power would be doing much different.
Yeah, and
That's
like
kind of where
truthfully, I'm not
And black
saying
people
that you
actually
should.
aren't treated much better in other places.
Right.
Like, let's keep it a buck. They're just not.
Yeah. Or you could go to a country that's like very black, and then like that would be really great. But also like a lot of those countries, unfortunately, are like
misogyny is off the chain.
I wasn't even thinking that. I was just thinking about like the lack of resources and access in those countries.
Yeah.
The way they've been colonized and just like everything's been taken from them.
Yeah.
So it's also just kind of like, and no matter, when I go to those countries, like when I go to Grenada, when I go to the Caymans, like they're black people, but as soon as I open my mouth, I'm an American too. Like it's a difference. It's different. And it was like interesting too, because like in America, like black people in America like share a camaraderie that like doesn't translate to every black person like outside of the US. Like if I was like, when I was interacting with like French black people when I was in France, like they identify, the ones who are born there identify more with being French than with being black. So like it's just like a different perspective.
Black people in America do have a thing about we perceive our blackness as the only blackness.
I don't even think that. I just think we have we just have a camaraderie because we have a really unique experience in the US, a really fresh history. I think it's similar to like.
No, we do. I think there is like it is particular just because somebody posted this thing as like after 400 years, like we are just from America.
Yeah.
We're just from here. We just are. And I like that perspective. And I think that a lot of black people here forget that like our experience isn't the only black experience or isn't the only like enslaved experience.
Yeah.
And we want the rest of the world to kind of like cater to that experience even when we're there or something like that. And it's not all the same.
I don't know if I agree with the second part.
Okay, that's fair.
Valid.
Yeah.
There have been more white slaves than.
No. I'm saying like black people. Like if you go to
but we were all part of chattel slavery, so I don't understand.
But I'm saying like I think black people forget that like people in Brazil, like slavery ended after us.
Yeah.
Or like, and it's not like a worse or anything, but it's like other people
it was worse there, but yeah.
It is in my opinion. But like they have a different, it's the same experience of slavery, but also different. So like ours isn't the only like narrative of enslavement, I feel like. Yeah. Which is a whole different thing. But.
Yeah, no, I was speaking more to the fact of like, because there's a black shared American experience, like I could go up to a stranger who's black here and like I can expect things of them because it's another black person. You can't do that in other places in the world. Like I expect you, like if I'm walking down the hall.
You can't do that as a white person. That's interesting.
So like if I was like walking up, like, for instance, when I'm walking through work, if, like, I make eye contact with a black person, like, I'll, like, kind of look at them, and they usually have a question. They're, like, looking for another black person to, like, ask the question. Like, where do I go? Where do I do the thing? And, like, the unspoken expectation is I stop to answer the question.
And help you. Yes.
Like, things like that. Or, like, if you're having, like, a weird interaction with a white person and I've never met you, we could still make, like, eyes at each other. Like, you good? You want me to stand?
I'm
like,
in
what's
here.
going on?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Nothing like that when I leave this country. Like, there is no shared context in the same way.
There's no solidarity.
No.
You on your own.
Yeah.
Don't bring us into that mess.
Anyways.
That's really funny.
How are you?
I'm doing, like, well for the most part. Today was a long day.
You're whispering a little bit.
Yeah. I'm kind of like riding on like a thing. I had therapy earlier in the week, and that was a different type of session than I've had in a while.
Because?
I just feel like I went somewhere I hadn't like gone like emotionally before, and that like felt different.
Like in a good way?
Yeah. No, like in a good way. Like it felt like I was like, damn bitch, like really now, like this is like.
You want to give us any context, Avo?
I'm trying to like remember a little bit, but
it was groundbreaking, but you can't remember.
Because I kind of like blocked it out.
I'm guessing it was parent shit.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah. So
were you gonna get over your parents, my guy?
It didn't start. I was feeling,
but no, really. Do you ever see yourself moving into a different headspace with your parents?
Yes, I feel like this is what I'm saying is like I feel like I actually am. It wasn't even about them. It was about me and like how I interact with like all people. And it like brought it back to it's like comes from my parents, but I wasn't talking about them. I was talking about a dating thing. So
Lies.
it's not. Stop doing that. It's not.
Face is red because it's the truth.
No, it's because I'm fucking hot and I don't know how to like prove myself otherwise. But like it's
What's
Now, I'm sorry to interrupt this wonderful check-in, but it got a little too personal. So if you'd like to hear the rest of it, subscribe to us on Patreon. Now, back to the show.
I think you like one-upped her once in a way that is like really fucking it gets at her.
Yeah.
I must.
That's how it feels.
I think it was that interaction where she tried to go. Remember how I told you guys the first time before we ever had any drama, like a year ago, she tried to like sun me and be like, "Go get the client from the hallway," and I kind of was like, "You go get the client," and then somebody jumped in. I'm like, "Is it that? Is it that small of a thing?"
I think that could cause hate for sure.
She's gonna try and one up you for the rest of your life while you work there. That's crazy.
I can see that.
Oh my god, she's obsessed with me. I'm literally like done.
Ew.
Anyway, speaking of eating, the last thing I want to talk about is Clarence Thomas.
Speaking of, I can't say that on here. Never mind. This nigga. Oh, he's such a sloppy. Okay, wait. Do you remember there was that? What is her name? Marjorie Taylor Greene recently, and like this. What's her? I can't believe I don't remember this black woman's name. But she called her a bad built blonde bitch or whatever. Yeah. He's the black version of that.
I agree.
He's a bad built bitch.
I agree.
Anyway,
he's really not even the important part of this. No, so the like interesting part of all of this is that today is June 21st. The Supreme Court withheld a decision that's been in the Texas state courts since 1994, which is basically that like if you have been convicted of domestic violence in some shape or form, like you can lose your right to carry arms for like a short period of time. I don't know how long, but you lose your right to carry arms, not permanently, but you do lose it. And what happened is that this guy, Rahimi, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, sued the state of Texas, which it made it all the way up to the Supreme Court because he was saying that it was against like his constitutional rights that he wasn't able to be a gun carrier because of his domestic violence history, and that it says nothing about that in the Constitution. So the precedent has been for like a really long time that like if like you can disarm people. A lot of the rulings that have been done are kind of like you can disarm people temporarily who like are a threat to other people. And so like DV people were like included in that kind of like, okay, well, if you've done domestic violence, like you are kind of a risk to specifically the partners that you're like enacting this violence on. So like, let's remove firearms. Logical, common sense gun laws. So prior to 2022, this will all like come together. So prior to 2022, New York had some of the strictest gun laws, New York City specifically. It's really, really hard to get a conceal and carry in New York City. And they did that intentionally because they were trying to cut back on like gun violence and crime. And also,
actually,
it's a heavily populated area. So it's like so many guns in one area.
You imagine all the niggas in Brooklyn having guns.
I don't want to.
They do. They're just not.
So the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin was the case. And what they came out after that was that it was unconstitutional for New York City to make it difficult to own guns in New York City, and that like it's everybody's right to carry a firearm in public for personal defense. And so they've had to repeal a lot of those laws. And as a result of that, there have been challenges popping up all over the country about like, well, if that gun law was unconstitutional, maybe all these other gun laws are unconstitutional. And so a lot of gun lobbying is happening around like, how do we overturn? This is an opportunity to overturn other gun laws. And so this has been kind of like held up, and this has been a thing because if this were going to be overturned, that would mean like a much more people were going to have access to guns. And on top of that, it would set a even further precedent for overturning like these common sense gun laws. This notion that like just because you're a U.S. citizen doesn't mean you get to carry a gun. You also have to do a couple more things. That seems to be the push and pull all the time. So when the Supreme Court came out with their statement, they basically said like, yeah, I don't think that like this domestic violence law really pushes against a lot of the other laws. Like this isn't violating Second Amendment rights. Like there's a lot of legal precedent to back up that like if you prove you're a threat to someone else, you can lose your right to carry a gun. Like this is like, we're not overturning this. The only person who wanted to overturn it was Clarence Thomas.
Of fucking course.
I just found it so interesting for a couple of reasons. One, he has the stuff with Anita Hill.
Sloppy ass.
And so
Him, not
to
her.
me, I'm
Sorry.
like somebody who has
Sloppy.
That was the wrong.
damn, what did Anita do to you?
Fucking Anita. No, it's him.
But one, like, there's already literally been on trial, like somebody saying you're kind of creepy with women. So I'm not surprised that someone who's kind of creepy with women, like, doesn't want to protect women who are often the victims of domestic violence. And then secondly, like, how much of this is really about protecting the Constitution versus being the standout, most right candidate that's going to get a lot of news and attention for this? Like, this feels like an attention grab in a lot of ways, to be the only person who's like, you know what? No, I'm standing for the Constitution. So yeah, that was my spiel. What do you think about all of this?
I can't even believe that.
Was I clear?
Yes.
Okay,
Very
go
clear.
ahead.
I can't even believe, even earlier when you were like sending me the article and like telling me like high level kind of about this and stuff, my first thought is always, I just can't believe it. Which is like a very like, it's like naive part of my brain kind of being like, is this really like where we're at in the year of our Lord 2024?
Not
like,
the year of our Lord.
That's great. Like, this is insane. And then I remember, like, it actually isn't insane.
No.
This isn't insane at all. It's not insane at all. It's not far-fetched at all. Of course this is happening. It's and then I think my brain shuts down.
Yeah.
I don't even know like where to start. I just feel like incensed. Like, as you're telling me this, I'm like, of
Do you feel
course.
afraid?
Yeah, I feel afraid. I think like I don't feel hopeless, but I do feel like afraid because I think people go into, well, like, it doesn't really matter. I hear a lot of like, especially I actually hear a lot of Black folks say like, well, it doesn't really impact me. There's kind of this like idea that like politics doesn't like trickle down and impact us, and it does almost immediately, actually. So like the idea of all of a sudden men having like access to, because DV rates are just higher that way, I think. That's really scary.
Yeah.
And sad.
If you think about the stat that's up there.
Hate domestic abuse survivors.
Oh, the law has blocked more than 77,000 attempts firearm purchases by people under DVRO since 1994.
If you think about that, that's someone who just beat the shit out of their right significant other, and they actually tried to go buy a gun.
And they could.
After that, right? And it stopped them.
Oh, and they
stopped.
couldn't. Yeah.
77,000 times. And now
And it's
those
probably
people
more,
are gonna be able
those
to
are
get-
only reported. Like, it's like, I just can't even.
What I was thinking about kind of, well, there's a couple things, right? I think that's one of the things about like that I'm realizing as I'm coming into adulthood is that a lot of the things that like we assumed were like permanent functions of progress are not permanent.
Yes.
Like, it's not just a straight line up. And I think that's how we like to think about history as like
Linear.
a constant projection towards better, towards progressive, towards like higher health rates, like all of these, like,
And it's not.
everyone tries to think of human progression as like it's always getting better. And like there isn't a time in recent history that I'd rather live in. So I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that like it goes up and down. It's not just like, oh, it's great and it's going to continue being great. Like people are going to continue to challenge these things. And like I think for a lot of people, I didn't grow up like this, but I think owning a gun is like a value to them. It's important to them. It makes them feel safe. It makes them feel secure in public. It makes them feel secure against the government. I think there's a lot of people who feel like owning a gun is like what sets them up for success. I don't see the world like that. I don't feel like that. And at the same time, like I don't ever see those people not fighting for Second Amendment rights. The part that's frustrating about the domestic violence piece is that I think that the demonstrating your propensity for violence, I think there should be a consequence. And I think like losing your right to bear arms is one of many consequences.
Should be
you
the
should
first.
get. Yes.
If you're a continually violent person.
yes.
Somebody being like, should they have a gun? No, they should not have a gun. I think this makes me think about, like, you made a good point about, like, as you come into adulthood, that things are not linear, that, like, progress isn't uphill, like, constantly. It's, like, it's all over the place. And I think, what is this thing like Project 2025 or whatever the thing is? I think that there's like so many things in that gamut that are like, oh, this is all in the chopping block. It's like abortion, it's gun rights, it's like the draft stuff, which is like still confusing, but there's like all these things that are like, oh, like these are up for negotiation, actually. These aren't
Most things are.
Yeah, exactly.
Most things are up for negotiation.
But you're right. Like, we don't consider, like, it feels very stable while we're in it. Like, oh, we have a president, or I'm not even talking about Biden, but like whatever. Like, everything feels more secure when things are going our way. Like, nobody could repeal this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Like, my mom was telling me about how, like, HUD, like, the housing, like, the Federal Housing Service, HUD, I'm trying to think of what the acronym stands for. Housing
and urban development.
Thank you. Housing and urban development. Like, my mom is working on a project right now to get like all these like first generation Black people help in buying their first home, like home buyer, like first time home buyer stuff. And they've been working on this for years through the Home Ownership Center. And like, they're kind of holding their breath because they're like, if Trump wins, like, it's not Trump who will say, like, yeah, you can't do this. It's reverse racism. It'll be who he puts in the head of HUD. Like, whoever's at the head of HUD gets to decide if this is racist. And
like,
we have no say.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
We have no say. Like, whoever he puts at the head of that will decide for the next 4 years, like, all of these federal programs, whether they're okay or not, whether they're unconstitutional or not. It'll just be their decision. And that's the kind of thing that I was arguing about last time when people were trying to vote. And the times before that is, like, even if you don't think the president themselves does a lot and they're just like a symbolic figure, even if you believe that, they pick a lot of people who are more than symbolic figures. I don't even believe they're just symbolic, but if you do believe that, they're picking like whole heads of departments. They're picking like lawmakers, decision makers, like they're picking a lot. And I don't think people consider that. Like, it's not just the person, it's also who the person picks. And that's why Biden was trying to get a lot of buy-in by being like, look, the people I'm going to pick are going to be diverse. I might not be diverse, but I'm going to pick diverse people. And everyone was kind of like, he's just shucking and jiving for us. But also, that is what people wanted. They wanted to see like a variety of faces and different spaces running different aspects of the country. That's what people are asking for.
It's literally what people are asking for.
So
it's scary.
It's something to keep an eye on.
Does it make you feel better about having guns, though? If Trump wins, like,
I actually
you know what I mean?
No, I don't have a solid feeling about guns because I don't really want them. Like, I don't need a gun. Like, I don't really need a gun in my house. Whatever. And I do have a thing about the government having all the guns and people not being able to have access to guns. That feels strange and wrong to me, that like.
But don't you feel like that comes from like a kind of misguided perception anyways, that like the government wouldn't just go blow up a whole city?
It might. And they would.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying they would. It is. It is. It's like a false sense of safety.
It is a
totally.
Do you want to be more passive to Trump, though?
And so the other part
that's
is like,
how I think of it.
Yo, like, what if shit really goes to fucking shit? Like, maybe I kind of want a fucking shotgun on me. I don't know.
Maybe you should just drive your Tesla to the Boundary Waters and try to get through to Canada.
I mean, that's what we would. I mean,
shot.
It was because you're rich. You're going to be one of the first people out. That's why it's like fucking. Me too. Like, I'm not rich, but like anybody who has access to leave is just going to fucking leave.
Oh,
let's be honest.
Oh yeah, I'm not fucking staying to fight. What the fuck?
Some people will. I won't.
I won't.
I wouldn't.
I won't.
Anyways,
I'm not fighting the zombies.
I'm ready to be done. Shall we? Shall we call it?
I literally haven't had a meal all day. I'm so ready.
See you guys next week.
Bye, y'all.
Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? It's the end of the weekend, but I still wanna turn up. Yeah, I still wanna turn up. All I want is to go again, but you ain't picking your phone up. Why you
NBC. No relation to NBC.